Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back, boys and girls, to another fantastic episode of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. I'm Brie Gabrielle, and this is Captain Rick Murphy, and this is the handsome Dave Farrell, who we wanted to have by our side this time because we missed you, Dave.
We did,
Why
Dave.
not? Why
You
not?
weren't here last week, and we only got half of you the week before with the kids, and we want to just put the family back
Feel
together.
the love. Do you feel the love?
I'm here, and I'm feeling all the love.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, tonight we have
creepy.
we have a great show. Not only are we giving away a trip to the Florida Keys and a day of fishing with Randy Tao, but we are also talking about everyone's favorite type of fish dip, Wahoo!
Wahoo.
Gotta love them.
Right, Rick?
Absolutely. You know, now, Brie, every week, as you know, we talk about the saltwater sportsman photos. Look at these beautiful Wahoo pictures. The great part about them is that the one thing you'll remember, Brie, if you catch a Wahoo, is the razor-sharp teeth. Also, one of my favorite fish to eat for sure. But we also have another couple pictures. I was able to take a couple of guys here from Comtel Studios, and this is Gene Talley. He's the engineer in charge of all our B-roll and whatnot. And then we also have Carmelo Rodriguez, and Carmelo is the director of the studio.
Of course.
And he keeps us all in line here, his first tarpon. So congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
We had a great time fishing.
That looks like fun. I wish I was on that trip with you guys.
Yeah, man.
Okay, let's jump right on in and see what our first captain of the night, Mike Holliday, has to say about catching Wahoo in the East region.
You know what, Brie? It's been pretty good in my region. If you've been offshore, you've seen all those schools of small bonita and blackfin tuna, as well as the large blue runners that have been around. So there's a lot of Wahoo candy swimming around out there in 100 to 500 feet of water right now. And we're just coming off the back of the new moon on Monday. And the best Wahoo action in my region typically takes place 3 or 4 days on either side of the new and full moons when that tide builds up those nice rips and edges around the reefs. As a rule, the best Wahoo action takes place in 200 to 400 feet of water, but you will see some nice fish caught well inside and outside of that range. The real key to Wahoo fishing, get your baits below the surface, cover a lot of water. So most anglers do that. You know, they high-speed troll with the wire lines or trolling weights and either swimming plugs like a Yozuri Bonita or a jet head like a Williamson Wahoo catcher. Black and purple and red and black seem to be the favorite colors. You can also just troll at normal speeds using a double hook ballyhoo or a swimming mullet with that, red and black islander in front of it, or even a, bonita strip and skirt combination, red and black or black and purple will do. The average Wahoo in my region is 20 to 30 pounds with fish to 60 pounds caught on a regular basis this month. The other thing we got, within a week after the Spanish sardine schools start pushing in close to shore, the kingfish showed up. So, it doesn't hurt that there's masses of big blue runners in on the beach as well. Both are, primo kingfish baits, whether you're fishing that drop in Jupiter 90 to 120 feet of water, the Loran Tower Ledge, the 6 Mile Reef, or the kingfish hole off the Pex Lake. That's had a lot of fish in it. Also, the Vero Cove. There's a lot of small fish in that 10 to 12 pound range on the sardine schools off Juno Beach. And then, fish in the 20 to 40 pound range on the 6 Mile Reef and on the Loran Tower Ledge. And then when that wind goes west, those big smoking kings, they charge the beach, so expect to see some big kings this week after Cristobal gets away. The Vero Cove is going to probably be the place for them. You slow troll live baits on a double hook stinger rig made with number 4 copper wire and a number 2 2X strong VMC treble hook. The other option is to put out ribbon fish on a hookup ribbon fish jig and then just troll around the bait schools or over the reef, making big circles around the schools. There's lots of turn. Kingfish are notorious short strikers, so, if a fish eats the tail off your bait and misses the hook, put the reel in free spool, and the king will swing back around and eat the other half. So a lot of kings around right now, guys.
All right, Mike, before we go inshore, I want to take a look at the navionics from your region. Now, we're talking about down in Palm Beach County, guys, and this is the typical government chart that you get loaded into your deal. If you take a look at the navionics sonar chart, you can see how we have a real defined reef line. And what Captain Mike says is that the bait is going to stack up right here where it drops from 100 feet of water down to 400. And as you can tell, this would be a great place for the kingfish in the shallow and then the wahoos to follow right here. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about going kingfishing or wahoo fishing in Palm Beach County. That'll certainly help you. All right, Mike, what do we have for us inshore?
Well, fall snook season opens this Monday, September 1st. and there's going to be a lot of anglers looking to catch a fish for the table. Now, the majority of fish are already done spawning. They're moving to the beaches and docks to take advantage of the minnows and the juvenile baitfish schools in those areas. And we're also seeing the first stages of the fall mullet run, mostly at night and right at dawn, but even in the Fort Pierce Inlet in the middle of the day. So around the bridges and docks and seawalls, those fish are really going to be focused on mullet. That means topwater plugs like dye dappers and elite shiners. Any of the topwater plugs like a skitterwalk's going to work really well. Any of the mullet colors are going to work good. 25-cent bridge in Stewart, seawalls around the Coast Guard station in Fort Pierce, seawalls in the Intercoastal Waterway. They'll all be red hot for snook first week of snook season. On the beaches, 4-inch sea shads in Houdini or copper juice colors, or live mullet or pilchard fish on the edges of the bait schools. That's going to get most of your bites. And keep in mind, a lot of the fish are going to be either above or below the slot limit. So make sure you have something to measure your fish with. And if they're outside the slot, handle them gently before you release them. Average snook are going to be 4 to 14 pounds right now. I have a photo to go with that. That's a photo of Denise Tate. She caught and released that monster snook in the St. Lucie River. She was fishing with Captain Ken Hudson of Snook City Charters, and that fish ate a live mullet up against the seawall. The other bite, every year in late August and early September, we get this great flounder bite in my region around the bridges and jetties. Basically anywhere the juvenile pilchards, threadfins, and mullet hang out. And the fish are usually in like 1 to 6 feet of water and real close to the structure, like bridge pilings, dock pilings, or rocks, or just simply lying under those bait schools that are around the bridge. So some of the best places to target this fish include the catwalks on the Jensen Beach Causeway, South Bridge Causeway in Fort Pierce, and the bridge pilings and the pier at the Little Jim Bridge, and also the spur jetty on the south side of the Fort Pierce Inlet. You can catch those fish on soft plastics like a white curly-tailed bass assassin quarter-ounce jig. The other option is to go to a live finger mullet or shrimp on a 3/8-ounce hookup jig or a 1/0 VMC circle hook with like a 1/4 to 3/8-ounce rubber core sinker about 4 inches in front of the hook. While you're flounder fishing, average fish is going to be 1 to 3 pounds, but fish to 8 or 9 pounds are going to be pretty common for the next couple of weeks.
All right, I know it was windy. Did it muddy up the water in the Big O? Give us a bass report.
Oh, it did. Cristobal did, but the lee side of the lake still has that clean water. The marsh filters that water out. So, the high wind stirred it up, but the outside grass lines on the east side of the lake around J&S Fish Camp and Ritta Island, and even the Rim Canal were producing big numbers of bass all this week, up to about 4 pounds. The bite's still early, particularly for the schooling fish. Most of them are busting shad, so look for either shad busting or diving gulls. That goes on to about 7:30 in the morning. And for those schooling fish, dye dappers, lipless crankbaits, topwater plugs, anything in that blue and pearl or blue and silver, basically, the shad colors, and even like a white double-bladed, willow leaf-bladed spinnerbait will work really well. And once the sun gets up, 7:30, 8 o'clock, go to the grass lines, the outside grass lines with a 9 to 12-inch worm and June bug or watermelon red glitter or fish live shiners, and those will give you your shots at some of the bigger fish. Average bass on Okeechobee right now is only 1 to 2 pounds, but guys are catching 30 to 50 bass a trip with a handful of those in that 4 to 5 pound range.
All right, thanks, Mike. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the East Region hotspots brought to you by WaterwayCafe.com. Inshore, tarpon on the minnow schools in Vero Cove. White saltwater assassin split-tail shads, topwater plugs, and live mullet are going to work best for them. And then offshore, mangrove snapper around the inlets and the rock piles in 20 to 30 feet of water, sardines or cigar minnows at night, Brie.
Snook season. Okay, keeping the current moving, it's time to check out what the Panhandle region has to offer with Captain Pat Dineen.
Yeah, Brie, I tell you what, we do have wahoo up here that we primarily catch them summer through the fall, although we do have good winter fishing all the way into the spring on the rigs that are west of here in 250 to 400 feet of water. The best fishing for them is going to be offshore in blue water around the floating structure, such as weed lines, logs, or flotsam, or above any significant bottom structure in probably 250 to 400, 500 foot of water. Objects floating vertically, like with relief pointing way down into the water column, like a deadhead piling, are particularly good for wahoos. When targeting wahoo, I like to troll baits that stay in the water at speeds over 8 knots. Much better than a skipping bait. My flat rods off the transom will usually be deep deepest using trolling lead with a Yozuri bonita or a skirted ballyhoo behind the lead, while my long baits will be a jet head lure or a ballyhoo islander or a ballyhoo sea witch type combination. When trolling natural baits at slow speeds, like for other type species out there, like speeds below 6 knots, I like to pull at least one deep diving plug that still has plenty of action at those lower speeds, like a Magnum 30, and that often gets a Wahoo bite because it's down 15, 20, or 25 feet down below the surface. Right now, the edge to the south and west of the nipple and also the elbow are great places to find Wahoo. Keep your eyes out for bird concentrations. There's been plenty of whale sharks out there lately, and those whale sharks are usually covered up with bonita, blackfin tunas, and small yellowfin tunas, all perfect forage for a big Wahoo or a billfish. The Wahoo sizes in our area, they range from like small little weehoos to fish over 100 pounds, with some of the biggest caught during the colder winter months around those rigs over to the west. And like Rick said, they're probably one of the best eating fish out there, and they're one of my favorites, that's for sure.
All right, what else you got for us offshore, Pat?
Rick, inshore, the king mackerel bite has slowed a bit over towards Mexico Beach, but it remains real good from Panama City to Pensacola. Mostly, it's a close-in bite on the buoys, the artificial reefs, the fads, and the natural bottom less than 5 miles offshore, probably less than 90 feet of water. They're real structure or bait-oriented, so often it's better to run spot to spot than to slow troll between the spots. There's plenty of schoolet kings in that 5 to 7 pound range, but there also has been some fish in the high 20s and into the 30s being caught. And some of those bigger fish are being caught around schools of blue runners and bonitas that you may see feeding up on the surface. So if you see that going on above some artificial bottom, pay attention to it and fish a little bit harder because there's usually some bigger kings around. Slow troll your baits on the surface and also a couple baits deep behind a downrigger or a planer. Use a stinger rig to get those short strikes. And it's been a great king mackerel summer, and it's looking like it should be pretty good all the way into the fall. Moving inshore, we've had some really hot weather, and this turned on the tarpon bite over in Apalachicolas, West Pass, Indian Pass, and also off the beaches of St. Vincent Island. It's kind of been an on or off bite over there this summer, but it's been really good this past week. The water is uncommonly clear, but there is areas of real turbid water, and that seems to be where most of the bait is concentrated and most of the fish. So, pay attention to those off-colored areas, not the clear water areas. Cast net a bunch of pogies. Hook your live or dead pogie through the nose with a circle hook and drift them through the passes or around the bait schools. I spoke with Captain Sean Chalker. He works out of Indian Pass. He reports that some of the best tarpon fishing he's seen all summer just this past weekend. Closer to home, the tarpon fishing off Okaloosa Island Pier has been good for weeks now, and they're still getting them real regular. First thing in the morning and late in the afternoon is the best bite, and it's coming on large, soft swim baits. And there's a photo there of a very large tarpon that landed earlier this week off of Okaloosa Island Pier. And I'll tell you what, Rick, that's quite a catch off of the pier.
That's 4 studs is what that is. Good job, Pat. Keep those coming,
right,
man.
All right, buddy. Mangrove snappers are in the bays, St. Andrews Bay, Choctawhatchee Bay, and Pensacola Bays. You're going to find them on the deeper structure near the passes, the 3-mile bridge over in Pensacola, and also on the Mid-Bay Bridge in Choctawhatchee Bay. Anchor up current of the structure and chum with pilchards, small menhaden or menhaden chunks, and then fish with whatever you're chumming with. And use a small wire circle hook and 15 to 20 pound fluorocarbon leader, and use no weight or at least or the least amount of weight that you can get by with. Ideally, you want your baits to sink and swim just like the baits that you're chumming with. You can expect to catch plenty of mangrove snappers. They're not very big. A lot of them are going to be keepers, and not many of them are going to be over 12 pounds. But it's pretty good action.
All right, thanks.
12 inches, excuse me.
That's all right, Pat. Thanks. We'll go ahead and talk to you next week. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Inshore, West Pass and Apalachicola for tarpon using live or dead menhaden, and then offshore, troll around the whale sharks out near the elbow and the steps for tunas, wahoos, and billfish, Brie.
Okay, Rick. Well, coming up next, we're going off the deep end with our favorite guy at the workbench, Dave Farrell, and then migrating down the coast to the Keys, only on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Smile, Dave.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy. Find new roads. Best parts, best prices. Bennett Auto Supply. Yeti Coolers. Wildly stronger. Keep ice longer. CCA Florida. The voice of recreational anglers for over 25 years. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation. Humminbird. Simply, clearly, better. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine. And King Sailfish Mounts. www.kingsailfish.com.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain.
Find summer. The Chevy Labor Day sale. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and make no monthly payments for 90 days. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Yamaha's next generation V6 4-strokes are changing the game.
Mid-range power was awesome.
Fuel, the burn, it's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe the speed and the fuel economy is pretty impressive.
I couldn't believe the power. It was like it was more like doing a quarter mile on a drag strip.
And them things are like, it's a whole nother game. So I made the switch.
Experience the difference for yourself during the Yamaha Discover V6 Offshore Demo Tour. See why we call it the game changer.
Jackpot!
Jackpot.
Jackpot!
Jackpot?
Jackpot!
Jackpot.
Jackpot!
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 Get ready for the jackpot family of scratch-off games from the Florida Lottery. With a top prize of $2 million, jackpots will happen. Will you be ready for yours?
I got it.
The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
Time to go over the news and notes from the FWC. September 6th is Saltwater License-Free Fishing Day. September 10th and 11th is the FWC Commission meeting in Kissimmee. And September 13th, you don't want to miss the Sportsman's Expo in Tampa. For more information, visit myfwc.com. Now it's time to go off the deep end.
Here at the Jägermeister workbench and hummingbirds off the deep end, Dave. Let's just get to it. Wahoo's, certainly you got to go off the deep end to catch them.
Yes, you do. You know, Wahoo, he likes to live way offshore usually, and mostly over 100 feet of water. I mean, I've caught him in 90 feet of water up here off Cape Canaveral in the wintertime when it gets, cold, January, February. Sometimes the Wahoos will move in real close with the cold water, but generally speaking, you're going to be over some sort of structure in 200 feet of water, or on a nice rip of a weed line or a good current break. That's what you're going to be looking for, because the Wahoo are going to be anywhere where there's something that'll hold bait, and that even includes like a 5-gallon bucket. I mean, you can find a 5-gallon bucket floating in the water, and again, Pat was saying anything that's floating vertically up and down instead of opposed to horizontally on top has a much better chance of holding Wahoo for some reason, because they like to congregate. And sometimes you can come up on a bucket or a pole, and they'll be stacked up on there like cordwood, but that's
so how are we going to catch them when we find them?
Well, there's several ways. I grew up here patrolling dead bait kind of slow. I like to use a big sea witch, a C&H sea witch with a split tail mullet, a big split tail mullet, sometimes with a double hook on it. A single hook is fine, and I'll run that on a 50 wide, like one of these 50s back here. This 50 right here actually is my favorite one that I use for my shotgun line. It's got 50 pound.
So you're gonna go way back.
50-pound trilene on it. I put this black and red sea witch with a big split-tailed mullet with a big ounce weight underneath its chin. So you got a lot of weight. It goes way far back, and because it's got so much weight on it, it probably trolls 10, 20 feet deep. and at my 6 knots, and usually we'll get a good shot at a wahoo on it. Now, if we want to get deeper, I got a wireline outfit, and this is pure wireline. This is Monel, stainless steel Monel, and this is a special built wireline rod, and it's got all the SICK guides in it that it keeps them, you know, very hard guides, and it's got the twisty AFCO wire tip on it, so that the wire won't wrap up around your rod tip. And yet those are the kind of things you have to get. And an outfit like this rod, when you get a wire rod built like this one, this rod can cost you $600. And you know, it gets a little expensive to go the wire line route.
And the wire line obviously is weighted, so it goes deeper.
Helps you get deeper. If you don't want to get all that, get around all that stuff, you just start using the trolling weights, and they come in all different sizes. And what you do is you put these in between a big lure that you want to use, or even a plug. You can put a big plug, a big Rapala on the end, or any of the tremblers, you know, 30 feet back from your trolling sinker. And what that does, that trolling sinker gets you down deep again, and it keeps you going. You can go faster without your stuff coming up and going out the top of the water, which you don't want to do. All these lures here that you see are mostly bullet-shaped lures. This thing right here is kind of a high-speed Wahoo secret. And what it is, it's a single hook lure on wire, number 9 wire. And what it is it's just a pure octopus skirt with 2 6-ounce egg sinkers stuffed up in the head and a single hook all the way in the back. And you put that on number 9 wire. You can go 12, 14 knots with that sucker way, way, way back there, and Wahoos will pile on. And anywhere they pile on in the middle, once that thing's all the way down, anywhere they pile on in the middle, that hook's going to come and slam them in the side of the head or get them in the mouth. And like he said before, if you get a bite, you get a big slam and the fish doesn't hit, throw it in free spool and he'll come back and hit it. A wahoo will do the same thing as a king mackerel because he is a mackerel fish after all.
Always you're learning me. Always learning. I can't tell you. Bree, speaking of learning, I need to learn what the next region is, so tell me where we're going.
I sure will. Coming to you from the Florida Keys, Captain Randy Tao definitely has a few tricks up his sleeve to get that wahoo bite.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, our traditional wahoo season, if you will, is more in the wintertime and in the spring, and you can catch them up and down the reef, Key Largo, all the way to Key West, and usually that time of year, a lot of the guys will actually target them where you'll go out and you can live bait. A lot of times you'll slow troll what we have here called speedos. They're like a giant cigar minnow, and guys will slow troll those out in about 180 to 250 feet of water, especially when the blue water moves in. When you have that watercolor, it's a good sign for the wahoos. And then, of course, the guys will troll. Some guys like the high-speed troll, where you're going to go fast, maybe 8 to 10, even 15 knots. And then other guys might go a little slower with a bait on the end of it, maybe in front of a big black and red lure that they can go slow and get it down deep. You want to have those trolling leads to break the surface of your plane of your bait to get it down so these fish will find it. Now, this time of year, we do find some wahoos offshore on some of the floating debris. So when you're out dolphin fishing and you come across a big piece of debris, whether it's a bucket or a tree or a pallet, everybody finds pallets but me, but these are good pieces of debris that hold wahoos. Now, you can troll by it and put a bait down. You got to have a rod ready now, because if you have your normal dolphin stuff, you're going to get cut off. So have a rod kind of dedicated for doing that. And you can also pull up to these pieces of debris and drop a jigging rod down with a butterfly jig on it, something that'll get down 75 or 100 feet down and jig it up. And a lot of times these wahoos are under the debris that we have offshore this time of year. Also, you can find some wahoos around the humps. A lot of guys are fishing the humps right now with the tunas and stuff. And when the tunas show up, it seems like there's always some big wahoos around. And some guys will actually catch some of the small tunas and use them for bait, or they'll troll around the hump, and sometimes there's some nice big wahoos doing that. So that's how we're going to wahoo this time of year in the Keys.
All right, speaking of the humps, you got tuna on those humps?
You know, blackfin tunas, we've been waiting for a good showing of these, and they've shown up in the last week. They have come into town from the Alamorada to the Marathon to the Duck Key humps. They've all got them right now. and they've been pretty cooperative. If you're looking to catch dinner, for example, you just want to troll around, troll those dark feathers way back, and you're going to catch some nice tunas. These fish are averaging right now 6 to 10 pounds on the troll, which are a little bigger than normal, I think, just because there's so many around. And if you want to target some of the big ones, it takes a lot of work, and work is catching live bait prior to going out there, and you need plenty of it, because when you get out to these humps and you want to chum up the tunas, you've got to throw over 50, 100 baits in up current of the hump and let those pilchards get out away from the boat and let these fish come up to the surface and then get your baits in the water. So it's a little bit of a process, but the reward, like Captain Brian Cohn, who fishes on the Contagious out of Robbie's Marina, I've got a picture that he sent me with his angler Brooks Drunman and his mate Dan Nonoff, and they've been catching some real nice tunas, and that's what you're going to find on live bait right there.
All right, let's go inshore, Randy.
You know, our inshore fishing for tarpon, I love the tarpon fishing this time of year. There's not a lot of them right now, and they've certainly been a morning thing. If you're not willing to get up early and pay your dues right after sunrise, you're probably not going to find one. We actually caught one today, and by 10 o'clock, you're really going to struggle to catch one. Now, a lot of these fish are around the Flamingo area, and some mornings you're going to see them rolling. Like this morning, we didn't see any rolling, but we had some live mullet we actually caught on the way over, and that's what we were using for bait. You can also use pinfish, and you can also fish these mullet on the bottom. A lot of times you won't see any tarpon in an area, but if you go to a known spot and you fish them on the bottom, a lot of times you're going to get a bite, like the photo I have here of young Chris Treby with a nice tarpon he caught just the other day.
All right, quickly on the snook, please.
You know, the backcountry snook bite is still going on strong. They've been biting on the flats for the guys with the technical boats, and they've been biting in the deeper water along the shorelines. Live pinfish has been a great bait. The finger mullet have been on the beaches of the West Coast pretty thick, and they've been biting those really well for me. I've got a photo of Dan Schrubel from Jacksonville with one of the few snook we caught a few days ago fishing those live mullet.
All right, great job, Randy. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the La Jolla hotspots from the Florida Keys. Captain Randy says, inshore tarpon, go early. Use a #1 dark-colored fly on an 8-foot fly rod and try live pinfish under a cork while you're drifting, looking for those rolling fish. And then offshore, blackfin tuna. Troll small, dark feathers, 100 to 300 feet behind the boat, or bring a lot of live bait and drift over the humps. And as you do that, chum with those live baits, Brie.
My hump, my lovely lady lumps. Okay, now it's time to tell you about some tournaments in the Florida Keys. Teams of up to 4 divers can compete for more than $3,500 in prize money for the most lionfish captured at the Lionfish Derby, September 12th to the 13th in Key Largo. The event, with headquarters at John Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park, is organized by the Reef Environmental Education Foundation. The Marathon International Bonefish Tournament, scheduled for September 18th to the 21st, is one of the oldest angling competitions in the Florida Keys. Awards include the tongue-in-cheek Wet Pants title for anglers wading from shore. The Herman Lucerne Memorial Tournament is set for September 19th to the 21st in Islamorada. The tournament awards Grand Champion honors to the angler who scores at least 4 or more of the 7 eligible species, including black drum, bonefish, redfish, snook, snapper, tarpon, and sea trout. The Take Stock in Children Backcountry Challenge, scheduled for September 26th through the 28th in Key Largo, raises funds for a statewide scholarship program for the youngsters. Trophies are awarded in adult and pro divisions, as well as first place snook, trout, and redfish prizes for juniors. And now, like always, let's hear from the one and only Andy Newman.
Well, hi guys. Next week, Insider fans will want to be watching as we bring you the Florida Keys. You know, Rick and Brie, the fall is one of the best times to travel to the Keys. Fall offers some of the best values of the year, and the fishing is great. Now, next week, there will be special features, including Captain Randy Tao's overview on Florida Keys fishing, a story on the legendary Skip Bradeen, who in September will mark his 50th year in the Florida Keys charter boat business. and Brie takes a look at a new Florida Keys attraction and marathon where you can feed the fishes. Chef Bobby Stokey will be in studio, and one lucky viewer will win a 4-day, 3-night Florida Keys vacation for two to the Islander Resort. It's a Guy Harvey outpost in Alamorada. And by the way, this prize includes a half-day fishing trip with Captain Randy Tao. Now, Rick, how about telling everyone how they can win this fabulous trip?
All right, thanks, Andy. Guys, the way you win this is go to our Facebook page or our website, the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.com, and we'll be picking a winner and announcing it right here during the show next week. So we're really excited about that, aren't we, Brie?
Yes.
The Florida Keys Show, for
Ooh la
sure.
la. Sit tight, my favorite anglers. After the short break, we're hitting up the Southwest and Central East regions. We're right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. Guy Harvey Clothing by Aftco. Croquis, made in the USA. Drummond Community Bank. Costa, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
Jackpot! Jackpot. Jackpot.
Jackpot?
Jackpot. 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 Jackpot.
Get ready for the Jackpot family of scratch-off games from the Florida Lottery. With a top prize of $2 million, jackpots will happen. Will you be ready for yours?
I got it.
The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
What is CCA? CCA has been representing recreational fishermen for over 25 years, and when your rights to fish are threatened, the CCA is there to make sure government regulators are making sound decisions. I'm a life member of CCA, and when fishery decisions are being made, the CCA in the room is fighting for our recreational rights. We need to give our kids the same opportunities to fish as we did. Do what I did. Go to ccaflorida.org and join for only $25 so you can protect your recreational angling rights.
Hi, I'm Harold Bennett. My dad started Bennett Auto Supply over 57 years ago. Things have changed since then. We've grown to 33 stores and opened a 93,000 square foot distribution center. But one thing has stayed the same, our focus on the customer. That's why we have the most knowledgeable parts specialists in the business, and we only offer quality auto parts at the guaranteed lowest prices. The next time you need anything for your vehicle, think Bennett Auto Supply. Best parts, best prices, Bennett Auto Supply.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain.
Fine summer, the Chevy Labor Day sale. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and make no monthly payments for 90 days. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, and with me is my good buddy Gary Lawson from Boat Center of Miami. Gary, if we're considering doing a 100-hour check, what do we need to know about that, doing it on our Yamahas?
First of all, 100 hours is equivalent to like 5,000 miles on your vehicle. So take that in consideration. It needs to be done.
So
the first thing you need to do is talk about changing your oil.
So we're going to change your oil, using obviously a 4-stroke oil, correct?
Most definitely. Oil and filter first.
All right, and then what would be next?
Go to your gear oil and make sure that there's a drain plug on the bottom, that it's a magnet, keeps all the metals and shavings collected on there. If you see just normal shavings, it's fine. If you see coarse shavings, you should have a mechanic take a look at it.
All right, then what? What else is part of that service?
Fuel filter is a necessity, especially with ethanol fuel and everything. Every 100 hours, mandatory. Jump on your fuel filters, you're gonna have a lot less problems.
Now this fuel filter is obviously for the boat part in the fuel line. What is this filter for?
The little filter's inside the motor. It's still 10 micron. It separates all the debris that somehow gets by the main filter.
All right, now while we got it there, we're gonna tune it up as well, right, Gary? We're gonna put in a new set of spark plugs?
100 hours, have no problems. There's nothing worse than getting to the dock. You have one spark plug file out at 120 hours and you didn't change them. Change them, they're cheap.
And then we got the cowling off. How are we gonna treat all our electrical wiring?
All of our With the Yamaha silicone spray, you can spray anything under the cowling. You're not going to hurt a thing, protects it, it's sealed off from all corrosion.
Now, I see these zincs laying here, Gary. What's that all about?
The zincs, especially for somebody that leaves their boat in the water, change your zincs every 100 hours. You're going to see them deteriorated quite a bit. The people on the trailer may not have to change them, but keep an eye on them.
Now, should we put fuel treatment in our fuel?
Oh, most definitely, especially using ethanol product, stabilizer, and I like to run a ring free from Yamaha every 100 hours as just a regular maintenance.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm very, very now well informed about my 100-hour check that I got to bring to you soon.
All right.
Thank you for coming in. And Brie, we got to continue to keep moving. So where are we headed?
Keep on keeping on. We are going to see what's going on with Captain Ron Houston, the best in the Southwest. Hey, Ronnie.
Well, like always, it's a pleasure being here. You know, we're not going to talk about the Wahoos. Not that you can't catch them, but it's not an everyday thing we go out and chase. But I can tell you one thing. One thing that's gotten better is the red grouper fishing. Now, right now, from Marco to Fort Myers Beach, we're working in depths right now of 50 to 110 feet. Now, I know there's a big difference when you're on the Gulf side looking at depths from 50 to 100 feet. What I'm trying to say is a lot more keeper-sized fish over the last couple weeks have moved into the shallower depths. If you've listened to my reports or seen my reports in the last several weeks, I've been talking about that 85 to 110, 115 feet. So now you can start concentrating on 50 to 75 feet. If you don't want to run as far, also concentrate on hard bottom, drifting until you locate these fish. Once you locate these fish, that tells me something else is going on in the area. Don't pick up and run. Be patient and work the area. Baits of choice have been squid, cut up pinfish, as well as live pinfish, or even bucktails tip, 3 to 5 ounce, depending upon the current. And if you start to locate keeper fish, like I said, be patient. There should be more fish around. Average size fish right now, 12 to 20 pounds. You got to work for them in the 50 to 75. Gotten better. 90 to 110 will get you one in the box. Now, also on the offshore side, the mangrove snappers. You want to concentrate on fishing most wrecks and ledges 8 to 15 miles out by simply anchoring up and chumming to draw the fish to you and locate. Once you have done this, a variety of cut baits like shrimp, pilchard, squid, and herring have been working, but with the abundance of small baits along the beach, casting at you some live pilchards, throw them out. This will draw the fish to the top, and you can either flatline back or simply put out a troll right on the outskirts of all the fish that are around you. Generally, this will pick up a bigger fish, and over the last several years, you've heard me talk about wrecks, ledges, and reefs. What you need to do if you're unfamiliar, look up GPS numbers from Naples to Port Charlotte, and there's a variety of websites that will give you the information about wrecks, reefs, all through the region. Now, on the inshore side, the triple tail. Right now, we're having beautiful weather, slick inshore waters, a good fun inshore bite right now from Jewel Key to Plover Key, depth of 2 to 7 feet of water. The main focus, Guy, and the key is here, the abundance of small baits and large schools, including finger mullet and pilchards. Run and gun scanning until you start to see the fish on the top of the water. You can drop back and try to sight cast or just drift. And in the same area, you want to stay around and not leave fish to find fish. More fish will come up. If they don't, go ahead and start running. Small baits like shrimp, finger mullet, pilchards, or artificials like shrimp, 8-ounce silver spoons, bucktail tips, or a variety of bass assassin elite shiners in rainbow shad, albino halo, and meat hook. And I got a picture of 2 familiar faces, Mike and Chris Houston, fishing last week down there with me in the Everglades region. They caught those fish on the rainbow shad elite shiner and the meat hook.
All right, before we go any further, Ronnie, I want to talk about a spot that's in your region and not a lot of the points that you love fishing on the high tide. And one of the spots that I really had learned just recently by using the side imaging on the Hummingbird is a point that we like to fish. But what I didn't know is how many deadfall trees were laying on the bottom. Now, what's so neat about this is you can tell there's a root system from the tree, and look at the bait that's gathering in and around that root system. This is another way it looked through the traditional sonar. What's neat about it is I was shooting out 85 feet to the right of the boat. We had water temperature of water depth of 6.5 feet, 88-degree water temperature, and I took that picture at 9:32 in the morning. So that's one of the things that's so cool about the Hummingbirds is we can look out from the side of the boat as well as down. All right, tell me about the snook fishing in your region, Ronnie.
You know, with the opening of snook season, guys, there's no particular place you got to hurry to catch fish, and you don't really want to be around a bunch of people in certain zones. I'm going to give you some patterns. with the opening of snook season, concentrate your efforts on the higher stages of the tide along the beaches throughout the region. When you're along the beaches, you want to concentrate on bait schools, rock piles, and blowdowns. Now, we've got also a night bite. You want to concentrate from Cape Coral to Port Charlotte. Concentrate on these tides on the last half of the outgoing to the first half of the incoming along docks, seawalls, and large boats. Very important, you should have some current. Live shrimp and small lip plugs in white, chartreuse and red and white. But also another bite that not a lot of guys are doing is river fishing. Include the Peace River and the Caloosahatchee River using 3 to 5 inch slip plugs, 3 to 5 inch swim baits, and a prime example, got a picture of a 34-inch snook by Oziel Molina caught on the Caloosahatchee River. And one note before I go, you know what, I've seen a lot of things change here in the future, for the future, and I've seen a lot change thanks to the CCA. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're thinking about your kids and thinking about the future, it's time to get involved with the CCA. Look at the issues they're working on while you're at work or while you're sleeping. It'll make a big difference. You think by becoming a member, it might not make a difference now, but I'll tell you what, it damn well in the future.
All right, thank you so much, Ronnie. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Florida Outdoor Experience hotspots from the Southwest region. Inshore, Redfish, Crack of Dawn, High Rocky Bay to Hickory Bay, east of the east wall using topwater plugs, silver spoons, and cut baits. And then offshore, Permit, Redfish Pass to Wiggins Pass, fishing wrecks 8 to 20 miles out using live crabs.
Ooh la la, I think it's about that time to tackle the Central East region with Jim Ross, comma captain, and see what tips he has for catching some wahoo.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brie, you know, anglers out of my region like targeting these fish while trolling skirted ballyhoo or high-speed lures on natural ledges in 180 to 250 feet of water. Wahoo are generally more abundant in the fall, winter, and spring months than they are through the summer months, but we have had some fish hit the dock this past month. The Charter Boat Rendezvous has had a couple of really nice fish lately. We're cruising out of Port Canaveral. And the anglers out of Ponce and Sebastian are also seeing wahoo while pulling some purple and black lures. But you know what? Our average fish runs right on that western edge of the Gulf Stream this time of the year. And you want to look for wahoo in the 15 to even 25-pound range. And every once in a while you'll get one that's 40 or even 60 pounds. Now, our other species that we've got offshore this week is king mackerel. Now, we've had this huge swell coming in from this storm that's gone by. But you know what? We're going to deal with it. The 60 to 90-foot reefs are going to probably hold the king mackerel on them. You're going to have to find where the water's clean, though. If the water's not clean on those reefs, you need to move out a little bit farther until you find that clean water. That's where you're going to find fish. Now, most of our fish right now are running 15 to 20 pounds, but we do have fish up into the 30-pound range. And one other thing that's offshore right now, red snapper. I've got a picture of Nate Colston, and he's got his first red snapper that he's ever caught in his life, that he got out of Sebastian Inlet not too long ago. So that's a pretty nice fish, I would say. Now, the other thing that we have going on is tarpon. They're all up and down the beaches, and they're all through our lagoons. Captain Mike Mann right now has been catching fish in the deeper sections of Tiger Basin, especially on calm days when he can see the fish suspending. He's looking for fish that are in 5 to 6 feet of water, and he's pitching pinfish and pigfish to them. Now, Captain Scott McCalla has also been putting his clients on tarpon in the Indian River Lagoon. Now, Scott said that he prefers white flies right now in the Indian River side or white plastic, soft plastic baits like the saltwater assassin bait. The reason is those fish seem to really be keying in on that white color, and our lagoon tarpon are running 15 to 40 pounds, and every once in a while you'll see a 70-pounder. Our beach tarpon are running 70 to 100 pounds. Also, jack crevalle throughout the region, but the hot spot this week really needs to be the inlets like Sebastian, Ponce, and Canaveral. They're 5 to 15-pound fish holding in those regions. The in-between beaches are holding fish in the 20 to 30-pound range. Now, jacks love to chase things, so the faster you can crank your lure, the better you're going to get a hookup on those fish. And we love jack hookups. I mean, those things are just incredible. But if you have live baits, it's critical that you get a jack to chase that live bait, either by twitching it or by having frisky live baits. You can't have lethargic baits. You've got to make that thing move to make them work for you. Rapala X-Rap minnows are working really good right now, and the new Williams Surface Pro popper has been fantastic on the jack this past couple of weeks. And then I've got a picture here with Kylie Honda. She was out with me the other day, and this is the size jack that you can expect to catch on the beaches right now while you're throwing those topwater plugs.
Wow, those are some big jacks. All right, Jim, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the hookup hotspots from the Central East region. Captain Jim says inshore, jack, snook, redfish, and Sebastian Inlet use large topwater plugs, or swimming baits on the outgoing tide. And then offshore, king mackerel and cobias of 70 to 90 feet reefs, slow troll, live mullets, or pogies on a wire stinger rig. How you like being in the truck?
I kind of like it. It's nice. All right, we have 3 great tournaments for one weekend, September 25th through the 28th, presented by Marine Max. The 18th annual New Smyrna Beach Billfish Invitational, where anglers fish with unrestricted tackle in this offshore World Championship qualifying event to target marlin and sailfish. The small boat division includes outboards and vessels under 40 feet. Anglers can compete for additional cash and prizes by entering the NSBBC tournament simultaneously. The 5th annual New Smyrna Beach Backwater Tournament allows anglers to fish inshore while competing for the heaviest redfish and trout combination. Multiple tournament awards and cash prizes are available for entrance. And the 3rd event is the inaugural New Smyrna Beach Blue Water Challenge, where anglers fish unrestricted tackle for dolphin, wahoo, and tuna as a separate event or in conjunction with the Billfish Invitational. Each entry is eligible for a $5,000 cash prize for the heaviest fish weighed. In addition to the awards, you could win an invitation to the Offshore World Championship Tournament. Goals are to promote fall fishery, marine conservation, and provide scholarships to local high school students. The tournament has donated over $150,000 since 1999. How about that, Rick?
That's great.
Isn't that great? I was 9 in 1999.
Yep.
How about that? Okay, guys, drop that anchor, because when we return, Dave is showing us some awesome new products that will make you want to say wahoo! And then we're hooking up with the Northwest region. We'll be right back.
All right.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Guy Harvey, artist, explorer, marine scientist, conservationist, diver, and fisherman. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. Maverick Boat Company, makers of premium boat brands, Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder. Navionics, we start where the road ends.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
Jackpot! Jackpot. Jackpot. Jackpot? Jackpot. 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 Jackpot.
Get ready for the jackpot family of scratch-off games from the Florida Lottery. With a top prize of $2 million, jackpots will happen. Will you be ready for yours?
I got it.
The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
Suffix 832 is constructed with 7 strands of Dyneema and a single strand of Gore Performance Fiber. It's the roundest, longest casting line in the world. It offers superior abrasion resistance so you can fish it anywhere. It's the strongest, most sensitive, and durable small diameter braid ever to hit the water. Nice fish, Brett.
Thanks.
Suffix 832. Always use the best line.
It's the boat show. The Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, October 30th through November 3rd. It's a family affair. See over 1,000 boats of all shapes and sizes with factory experts on site. Catch cruising, fishing, and diving seminars, free kids fishing clinics, electronics, art, jewelry, and fashion, food, drinks, live music, and opening night fireworks. All at the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, October 30th through November 3rd. Get discount tickets at showmanagement.com.
over here at the Jägermeister Workbench, Dave.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
get to it.
Well, we're going to start with, these are the new Fenor Marquesa Pelagics. And that's the 40, and this is the 30 right here. And what's really good about these, there's tons of good things about these reels. Fenor, for one, has been just stepping up the game every year. And now these are some really the nicer ones that they've put out. These have a 2-stage cam drag on the side. You know, it's pretty delicate all the way up until the strike drag, and then it's got a really short but aggressive from the strike on up to full speed. So you can put a lot of drag on there. This little one, this little 30 is 12 pounds at strike and 22 at full, and that's still with a free spool, which is awesome. You know, you always want to look, whenever you're getting your drag looked at, you always want to make sure that you got a free spool involved, because no matter how much drag you can get, if you can't go back into free spool, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
You got to be able to go all the way back and forth. And these are, you know, machined and forged. They're a one-piece frame all the way up to this whole side on the left side, and the nice big ergonomic handles. The 40 holds 440 yards of
20.
Of 20, or actually 30 actually, and the little one holds 20 pounds, 450 yards of 20 pound.
Wow.
They also have an adjustable clicker. So you can, I'm talking about the tension of the clicker, not just the sound. You can actually adjust the tension on the clicker button. So if you want to be in free spool with a clicker on, you can put a really light tension. Let's say you're fishing with a kite and you want to be in dang near free spool most of the time, you can actually adjust your clicker. So
nice.
you can, and the big one weighs like 31 ounces, the little one 27 ounces, incredibly light for how, you know, what they look like. They're beefy, they feel really nice.
You think it'd be a good sailfish reel?
I think they'd be awesome. The Fenor is making just great stuff now.
All right.
Well, we got here some hoagie lures, new tarpon baits. Those are the jig heads with a paddle and the eel tail that comes with a 1-ounce Barbarian jig head. You know, they got that really angled hook.
Right.
These things are really good no matter where you're at as far as wanting to fish down deep. If you're wanting to fish mid-water, you can just use the regular 10-inch bait on a 6/0 circle hook. If you can get away with using a circle hook with tarpon, you're probably going to hook a lot more fish and jump a lot more anyway, for sure. Next, we have some mirror lures. These are the Sea Eyes. I got one open here for you.
Okay.
This is a mirror lure Sea Eyes. They're suspending and/or sinking. You can get them either way. They're good for trout, redfish, snook, anything that eats a little bait. They dart side to side. The suspender goes down about 10 to 12 inches, maybe a foot deep, and it will hang right there, which is perfect for just about anywhere on the flats, or you know, if you want fish down the edge of a channel. They got double X hooks on them, so you don't have to worry about the hook straightening out when you put any pressure on them. You can tell they got nice beefy rings and beefy hooks. And, you know, it's a mirror lure, so you know the dang thing's going to catch fish.
Yep.
I caught a nice redfish with
One
Jeffrey
more,
Page.
quickly.
Okay, these are the fish raisers. These are holographic teaser system. You can actually pull these things out of there. They're a little sticker, all these little flying fish. You can stick them on the bottom of your boat. Supposedly, it makes a little school of bait under there. You know, they've been doing these for a long time now. These are fish raisers. They come in, if you flip it around, they come in all different types of
tunas and
from
different
tunas, squids. Those are the holographic. They're marine grade vinyl, so when you stick them on there, they're not going to come off unless you want them to come off. Yeah, a lot of guys are using these things now. I don't know, you know, exactly how they work, but some guys like them, so hey, why not?
All right, good job. You know what, Bree, we got to reel in another region, so take it away.
That was a good one. Okay, just like our captain, Jeff Hageman, the Wahoo in the Northwest region like to play hard to get. Isn't that right, Hagster?
We've got them out of region, but you've got to go chase them, that's for sure. You're going to have to get out in that 200-foot plus mark, which, depending on our coast, is anywhere from 60 miles to 100 miles. We've got some shallow water for a long way, so you're going to have to make a pretty good run. But they're out there this time of year. All the same stuff that everybody was talking about earlier works really good. Some of the favorites over here are black and red sea witches or braid tremblers in red and black. Also very effective for that fast trolling you're going to do with them. But what we do have inshore right now is a lot of gag grouper throughout my entire region right now, and anywhere from 70 to 120 feet of water over rock piles and ledges. Heavy tackle is a must right now. Some fish up to 30 inches are being commonly caught. Pinfish and grass grunts are going to be your baits of choice. 6/0 to 8/0 VMC circle hooks, 125-pound test Suffolk fluorocarbon leader, and 6 to 8 ounce egg lead, depending on the current and the size bait you're using to help you get down quick. Moving on inshore, Captain Gray Drummond of Florida Outdoor Experience out of Cedar Key reports a really good early morning topwater redfish bite. He said it's been phenomenal right now around the Cedar Key and Swanee River area. Skitter walks in that redfish pattern have been the way to go first thing in the morning. Then you want to switch to spoons and spinner baits as the sun gets higher in the afternoon. Fish are averaging right now anywhere from 20 to 25 inches with occasional oversized redfish being caught. Also up in the northern part of my region, Captain Pat McGriff out of Keaton Beach, One More Cash Charters reports a really good trout bite right now. They're a little deeper, 4 to 6 feet of water over the grass cuts. You want to fish Cajun Thunder right now with a 1/4 ounce jig head under a Bass Assassin, Cajun Thunder with a Bass Assassin sticking on a chain or a small fish, pinfish under a float. And the fish right now are averaging anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds.
All right, good job, Hag. That was a great report from the Yeti region, short and sweet. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Drummond Community Bank hotspots from the Northwest region. Triple tails inshore in the north part of his region. Look for those fish on crab traps and channel markers. And then offshore, gag groupers on rock piles and ledges in 30 to 60 feet of water. Use pinfish and sardines for bait, Brie.
Rick.
Hey.
Hey. Just a few more regions left, everyone. And when we come back, we're seeing what's being hooked in the north and southeast regions right here on the Chevy Florida
Insider Fishing Report.
Woo!
Yeah.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy. Find new roads. Alukai, fit by nature, crafted by hand. Best parts, best prices. Bennett Auto Supply. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. StarTron. Cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. And Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain.
Fine summer, the Chevy Labor Day sale. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and make no monthly payments for 90 days. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Welcome back, guys. Rick and I are very excited to announce the winner for our Yeti Summer Cool Down with Sportsman Adventures. Right now, the winner, drumroll, is Ben Cottrell. Congratulations, you will be receiving all of that stuff: a Yeti Tundra Cooler, a 20-ounce Yeti Rambler, and a Sportsman Adventures prize pack. Looks like you are Yeti'd out and will definitely be cooled down for the rest of this very hot summer.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You know, Brie, I would happen to have a chance to do the Helm Master when I was up at the test center, and I want you to see how now we can actually steer boats with just the tip of the fingers. Well, we're here at the Yamaha Testing Center, and a new product that also has been being introduced for 2013 is the Helm Master. Now let me explain to you what the Helm Master is. It's a fully integrated boat control system. And what that basically means for you guys that have twins or triple outboards is now you have the ability to be able to steer your boat with a simple joystick. But more importantly, in this system, it comes with a variety of different types of gauges. And in the controls helm here, what you have is also a bunch of different aspects. Now, let's talk about some of those. We have the speed control button. What this speed control button does, guys, is it allows me to have cruise control over my twin or triple engines. By simply touching a button right here in front of the control box, it allows me to get increments in percentages, 15% on the up and 10% on the down. Now, moving over to the next button, we also have the ability to be able to choose a station. If we have an upper station, we have the joystick and we can operate it from up there, as well as trim assist. Now, what this trim assist does is it allows us to have 5 preset systems in our trim ranges. So as we speed up in different RPM ranges, we can preset how the engines trim out. Now, when we come back off of plane, it automatically goes back to the all the way tucked under position. So that's a great part of this Helm Master control system. One other thing that allows us to do, we have a single lever. I can now use this one single lever, and this one becomes the dead stick. The center engine allows me to operate only the center engine under that, as well as the free throttle. So there's an array of different things in this new Helm Master, and I gotta tell you, it's going to change the way big boats are being docked and operated.
Wow.
We've eliminated bow thrusters if you buy the Helm Master. It's just an awesome way to manipulate the boat, and it's a full integrated boat control system.
The future.
Yeah.
Okay, keeping the tides rolling is Captain Russell Theron in the Northeast region, who I'm sure has plenty of recipes when it comes to cooking up some Wahoo.
Oh, sure do. And I love Wahoo, one of my favorite fish to eat there, Brie. Now, we have some great Wahoo fishing here in Northeast Florida. And the best 2 reasons is because of our lack of fishing pressure and because of our great temperature breaks. Now, the best Wahoo fishing starts in winter and runs through the spring. Now, fish the ledge to target a Wahoo at 150 to 200 foot of water on the continental break. And look for temperature breaks and tide lines where temperatures are going to be ranging from 73 to 76 degrees. Some captains like to use planers to troll down to 30 feet. They also like to use blue and white and black and purple Hawaiian eye lures that are made by Islander. Most of the Wahoo will average anywhere from 40 to 50 pounds. Now, staying offshore, I want to talk about the mutton snapper. Captain Todd Harris had a great report this week. They ran out 58 miles to fish over a rock pile, and they rigged up their lines with chicken rigs and circle hooks baited with squid. They filled the box, their fish box, with sea bass, beeliners, and triggerfish. Next, they switched their lines over, and using 3-way swivels and enough weight to hold the bottom, they also added 4 foot of heavy shock leader and used by bait. The crew was targeting grouper and snappers, and the grouper and snappers bite was on fire. The crew was so happy that they danced all the way home. Typical size mutton snapper that was caught above on the hunters last Saturday averaged 10 to 20 pounds. And here's a photo, a great shot of the crew with mutton snappers and triggerfish on the way home after a great day fishing aboard the Huntress. Also, Rick, we're going to move inshore, and I want to tell you about the tarpon. We've got great tides this coming weekend for tarpon fishing. Lots of tarpon have been working and caught on the bait pods near shore and off the beaches. Some of the tarpon have been on their way inshore and following the pokey pods, mullet, and shrimp. Now, that's why chumming works so well. You can create a tarpon feeding station right behind your boat by chumming. Anchor in deep, clean water and chum with fresh cut pokies the last 3 hours of the flood tide. Use a Carolina rig with enough weight to hold the bottom and at least an 80-pound shock leader and a BMC circle hook tipped with a fresh pokey. Most of the tarpon are running anywhere from 50 to 120 pounds. Now, I've got a photo here of Captain Larry Minyard and angler Jamie Jones. They caught this 100-pound tarpon, and it took them more than an hour to get it to the boat. And hey, Captain Rick, Captain Larry wanted me to let you know that he's got a brand new Maverick Mirage, and he loves it. Also inshore, we're targeting redfish. Some of the best catches of redfish have been using live shrimp and mud minnows on an 1/8 ounce hookup jig head. Now, what you want to do is locate the schools of redfish, especially early Saturday morning and early Sunday morning on the low tide. You will want to make long casts to locate the schools of reds and cast in where they're moving, and just let it sit. The redfish are able to pick up the scent and eat the bait, even if they can't see it. If you're not an early riser, then you're going to want to fish the Pine Island and Palm Valley. There's going to be a sweet outgoing tide this weekend in the late afternoon near sunset. The average size of the redfish, Rick, are running anywhere from 3 to 6 pounds.
All right, great job, Russell. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Northeast Region hotspots from the CCA Northeast Region inshore. Fish the early morning low tides this weekend for redfish with a 1/4 ounce jig head tipped with a live mud minnow. And then offshore bottom fish for sea bass, groupers, and snappers over the reef and wrecks in 70 to 180 feet of water with cut or live bait, Brie.
Okay, Rick.
Hey.
Come meet me. Oh, and Rick and Jeff and Russell at at the Ron Anderson Chevrolet dealership in Yulee on September 4th from 5 to 8 p.m. It's going to be a heck of a fun time.
Yes, it is. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, and we can't forget that CCA wants to give you a boat. Being raffled is a Contender 28 tournament series with an Ameritrail trailer, a Pathfinder with an Ameritrail trailer, and a Hells Bay with a custom trailer. And of course, all of these beautiful boats come with Yamaha motors. But remember, if you win and don't want the boat, you can opt for a cash prize. All you have to do is go to ccaboatraffle.org and enter to win. And now, Rick,
yes,
we are talking to Captain Jimbo Thomas, who always has some tight lines and definitely has the step-by-step method of catching some of that in-demand wahoo.
Tell me.
Well, I don't know about how much in demand these wahoos are, but they're considered a prize catch and are said to be one of the fastest fish in the ocean. And we do find them year-round. One of the best times to target wahoo is around the full moons of August, September, and October. And there's a couple of ways to go about catching these wahoos. One of the more productive tactics is to fast roll weighted lures at 10 to 15 knots, or slow down to 6 to 8 knots and fish a 3.5 or number 4 drone spoon or sea witch and bonita strip combo on a wireline outfit, or behind a number 2 or number 3 planer. Now, wahoo also love to eat live baits under the kite or on the flat lines, and more bites will come off with the big baits, a big Speedo, Blue Runner, or Goggle Eye. Those are all good choices. And with the big baits, it's not a bad idea to use a stinger hook. Now, wahoo also like to hang around floating debris, much like dolphin. They can be caught by trolling deep diving Rapala magnums or dropping live baits or jigs around and under these floaters. Now, a piece of wire leader is a must, since wahoo do have razor-sharp teeth, and if you have one rod out with a monofilament leader, it never fails. That's the one the wahoo will bite. Anything with teeth, obviously, is going to bite that. And just like with most of our offshore fish, look for blue water with north current in the 100 to 500-foot range. And then since the last full moon a couple of weeks ago, there's been some stray wahoo caught, but the decent run that usually occurs on the August full moon never really materialized, but we still have September and October to catch them. I got a photo here. This is Mel Kryling with the 22-pound wahoo that we caught last Saturday off Key Biscayne, and it ate a feather out in about 350 feet of water. That was a nice surprise.
That is a nice surprise. And see, Brie was right about you guys catching wahoo in the Thomas Flyer.
Jimbo, rude.
All right, let's go. Tell me about swordfish.
We didn't catch him, but we'll take him any way we can get him. But staying offshore, the daytime sword bite's been going off in 1,800 to 2,000 feet of water. At least last week when the weather was calm and we had a couple days of wind, but it's supposed to be calm the next couple days, so it should be good again. But it's been going off in 1,800 to 2,000 feet of water from Government Cut north to Lake Worth Inlet. Now, the night bite has been so-so, but then again, most everyone's been daytime fishing, so who knows, they could be out there biting right now in the evening. In the daytime, we like to fish big bonita strips or squid rigged with 10-0 to 12-0 hooks, and a long 300-pound monofilament leader with the lights attached above the bait. Try to fish the bait as close to the bottom without snagging. Now, in the Miami area, hanging the bottom is a big problem, but as you get further north, the bottom tends to flatten out with less chances of hang-ups. Now, depending on the current, anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds of weight is needed to hit and hold bottom, so most everybody, including ourselves, that are day dropping for swords are using an electric reel. Most of the fish have been in the 100 to 200 pound range, but I did see a picture on Instagram of a fish around 500 pounds. It was caught somewhere in the region. I couldn't get much info on it, but beautiful fish nonetheless. Now, moving inshore, the bonefish action is slowed in Biscayne Bay, but there's been plenty of bull sharks, blacktips, and lemon sharks roaming the flats and adjacent channels for some great light tackle, catch and release shark fishing. Now, it's not just in Biscayne Bay, but any of the channels throughout the region should be holding these sharks. Now, you want to anchor up or stake out on the east side of these oceans, on the east side or the ocean side of the flats on the outgoing tide, or on the edge of any channel that has good moving water. Start with a barracuda or bonita slab hung over the side to get their attention, and use light to medium spin tackle or plug tackle with a 5-foot piece of wire leader, 6/0 to 8/0 circle hook, and a strip of bonita or barracuda for bait. Now, it's not uncommon to get a number of these sharks up in the chum behind the boat, and a surface lure or a plug work on the surface. That will produce some really exciting strikes. And that's also the perfect opportunity to catch a shark on fly. Now, be careful when you release these fish to avoid harming the fish and yourself. Now, staying inshore, you want to do some easy inshore fishing by boat or foot. There's been some great largemouth bass fishing in all of the lakes and canals of the region. And in the south end of the region, there's also been some peacock bass. Now, the largemouths are going to bite best early in the morning or late in the afternoon on artificial worms and crankbaits. And I got corrected when I called those worms rubber worms. I was told they were plastic worms, so we'll go with artificial worms. But if you're going to go for the peacocks, you can sleep in late because they don't bite early in the morning. They're biting better in the afternoon. And you want to use small live baits along with small rapalas in silver and black or silver and green. DOA terrorizing root beer color has also been a hot bait. And look for both the largemouths and peacocks in areas with clear water and current around the canal mouth, bridge abutments, or any other structure.
All right, thanks, Jimbo. Good report from the Captain Harry Southeast region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Inshore, chum the sharks up along the edges of the channels, have a strip bait and artificials ready to cast, and then offshore, drop squid or bonita near the bottom in 1,800 to 2,000 feet of water for daytime swordfish. Also put a couple of live rig baits on the surface for any dolphin that might swim by, Brie.
Jimbo, why I oughta. Okay, coming up on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is our last region of the show, the Central West region, and our Coastal Conservation Minute Tip. So keep that boat motor in. We'll see you in just a minute.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Lottery. Just imagine. Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. Tires Plus, total car care. The IGFA, conservation through education. Get your hands wet. Florida Outdoor Experience. Lumber Rock. Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company.
Introducing Helm Master, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helm Master, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a fob and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helm Master joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helm Master at your command.
Casa Vieja Lodge, Guatemala. StarTron is a multifunctional fuel additive that uses enzyme technology. StarTron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Engines powered by StarTron treated fuel start easily and run smoothly with fewer emissions and better fuel economy. StarTron restores octane to old substandard fuel. StarTron's enzyme formula enhances combustion for a more complete fuel burn. StarTron, it's not the engine, it's the fuel.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain.
Fine summer, the Chevy Labor Day sale. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and make no monthly payments for 90 days. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Boatfish and Tarpon Trust and Costa Sunglasses have teamed up for Project Permit, a multi-year permit research program in Florida. Project Permit relies on anglers and guides to tag permit. The catch and recapture data is being used to learn about permit movements in Florida waters and to provide managers with new data that might be applied to management zones. Anyone that has permit fished before can tell you about the art and the skills needed to catch them. It's something that Costa wants to make sure that future anglers have a chance to try, and which is why the data from this tagging program is so important. Our objectives is to form policies that protect and conserve permit for our children and grandchildren to enjoy. To learn more and to get started tagging, please visit btt.org.
And now for our last region, Captain Jeff Page has the scoop on who's who in the Central West region.
Who's who?
Hey, you guys.
Hey.
Well, we have a great number of Wahoos in our Starbite Central West region, and it all starts in 200 feet of water on out. When I say that, you know, it's a good ways out in my area. But once you get out there, guys like to troll lipped plugs like the X-Wrap 20s and 30s, and they like to troll them pretty fast. 9 to 14 knots seems to be the number, and they use other types of high-speed lures. Some of the signs that they're looking for are, of course, bait schools, and then along with that, temperature change, and then big pieces of bottom structure. So if they're paying attention to their bottom machine while they're trolling, some of the bottom is going to be holding bait, flying fish, or another good giveaway that the Wahoos are nearby. And when you start seeing them in a particular area, a couple of tips are rigging your plugs. Definitely use at least number 9 wire. And once again, pay attention to your bottom machine for lone pieces of structure out there because they're going to be holding on it. I've got a photo tonight of a nice Wahoo caught aboard the Double Nickel out of Marina Jacks in Sarasota.
All right, tell me about the grouper fishing, bub.
Gag grouper, Captain Jason Sherrill, the Bad Habit, reports big gags are holding on wrecks and structure in 150 to 200 feet of water. The bite's been tough due to the hot water, but he says if you're patient and you bring good, lively, big baits like pinfish or grunts, you're going to get a big gag. 150, 200 feet of water, and porgies are working too. Got a photo tonight of Dave with a 30-pounder he caught aboard the Bad Habit.
Oh, man, that's a nice fish. Let's go inshore, bub.
Inshore, speckled trout. Nice specks are feeding on the massive bait schools that have pushed into the bays, Rick. North Sarasota Bay as well as South Tampa Bay. Try and set up a drift according to your wind over the larger areas of broken bottom in 4 to 6 feet of water. Try throwing subsurface lures like the Mirror Mirrodines and the Chartreuse and Silver pattern, as well as the Violet Moon 4-inch saltwater assassin sea shad rigged on a 1/4-ounce silver hookup jig head. The trout are averaging 16 to 22 inches. Species 2, redfish. Like I said last week, big schools of reds are showing up throughout the region in the Central West area. Flats out front of Cockroach Bay, south of Bishop's Harbor is one area. Another area down south out front of Catfish Creek and Turtle Bay Bar is another area. Don't be surprised if you get into the big school of reds that there's jacks and bluefish mixed in with them. So try and use at least 30-pound test leader. Topwater plugs like the Bone Chartreuse Skitter Walk are working real well. as well as that live target scale sardine. I've got a nice photo tonight of some guys that I've known since high school, Rick. Chard Curry and Chris Campion. They went fishing with me on Tuesday, and we got in the redfish pretty good.
Hey, Jeffrey, I want you to tell everybody we're going to be there in a couple of weeks, and we're going to be at Tires Plus. Tell us what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, Tires Plus on Highway 70, which is in Bradenton, and we're going to be there from like 4 o'clock till closing, which will be 7:30. And Brian said he's got a set of brand new tires to give away. We're going to raffle off while they're doing our fishing seminars. We're going to bring the Jägermeister Yamaha Pathfinder there, and we're going to talk fishing with all the folks in Sarasota, Manatee County at the Tires Plus on State Road 70.
Tell everybody the date of that, bub.
That will be, I think, Thursday the 11th of September from 4 to 7 p.m.
I think you're right. Okay, thank you so much, Jeffrey. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Tires Plus hotspots from the Central West region. Inshore, tarpon, still got them over on the West Coast. Good bite at the mouth of the Mayaca River. Throw DO8 bait busters in and around the ladyfish feeding on the small red minnows. And then offshore, lane snapper. Cut bait or live shrimp over the structure in 55 to 100 feet of water, Brie, to catch those snappers. I got you.
Squid. God, I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, stick around.
It's not really
what we're talking about next week. So don't move a muscle. We'll be right back.
Okay, and I'm moving.
Wandering out into this great unknown. And when it's done, believe that I will yell it from that mountain.
Fine summer, the Chevy Labor Day sale. Get 0% financing for 72 months plus a total value of $4,000 on this 2014 Silverado All-Star Edition and make no monthly payments for 90 days. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
Jackpot! Jackpot. Jackpot.
Jackpot?
Jackpot. 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 Jackpot.
Get ready for the Jackpot family of scratch-off games from the Florida Lottery. With a top prize of $2 million, jackpots will happen. Will you be ready for yours?
I got it.
The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report right on your YouTube channel. And make sure to check out our website for fishing reports in your region. Visit www.ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up. Next week on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we are heading to Paradise with our special edition Florida Keys show you won't want to miss. Make sure to tune in to SunSports every... Really, Dave? Yeah. Tune in to SunSports every Thursday. Plus, you can catch repeats of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report on Fridays and Saturdays. Check your local listings for times.
You know, when Whit Watson was the co-host of this show and he would be trying to do all those reads about that,
yes,
me and Dave would be sitting there talking, and he was like, guys.
We'd tear them apart.
Remember?
Yeah.
Those are the fun days, not
I
like
feel
now.
your pain.
What are you going to do this weekend? 3-day weekend?
I don't know. My wife wrecked her car, so I don't know. We're going to be trying to get a new car. Fix a
Home
new
bound.
car.
Brie, what
Fix
are you
the
doing?
old car.
I don't know yet. Probably fish.
No
Try
matter
to.
no matter what you do, make sure you guys are safe.
Kwanzaa.
And I can
Be
tell you
safe.
what I'm going to be doing.
Hang out with Kwanzaa.
So I'm going to be pre-fishing for the Herman Lucerne, which is in about 2 or 3 weeks, with Ridge on Saturday and on
You
Monday.
mean Captain Ridge?
Captain Ridge Murphy.
Captain Ridge Murphy.
That's
Good
my
luck in
boy.
that.
Yeah. Hey, good show,
Happy
guys.
Labor Day. Good show. Good show.
Thanks for being back, Dave.
Oh.